Hello, my name is Elliot Hudson, and this is my final major project presentation. Context: I've been drumming for 8 years, influenced by funk and jazz, which I enjoy for their syncopation and improvisation. I focus on a light grip and use my fingers and wrists more than my arms to stay accurate and avoid fatigue, especially with complex patterns. While I need to improve my dexterity for more challenging patterns, I've been practicing rudiments like paradiddles and press rolls. I also experiment with odd time signatures, like 4-4-5-4 and 7-8, to improve my groove. I have some experience recording live instruments, using microphones like the Shure SM5. Recording drums was tough at first, but I've learnt about mic placements and techniques for capturing clear sounds. I've used Logic Pro for several years, and have become more confident with both live recordings and electronic music production, improving the textures and sounds I create. In my previous final major project, I was praised for my drumming, but needed to focus more on planning and documentation. My tutors thought my house track was strong, but suggested I incorporate more drumming. For my new FMP, that's why I'm focusing entirely on drumming and recording. For my time after college, I've decided to apply to universities to further develop my production and playing skills. I managed to complete my project, but I did struggle with getting it done on time. A big reason for this was my lack of solid planning. I also found myself spending too much time on things that weren't actually important for the overall goal of the project. I got distracted by aspects that seemed interesting but didn't really contribute to the overall outcome, which slowed me down and made it harder to keep track of deadlines. I did learn a lot from this project though, especially about producing electronic music in Logic Pro X. I got a lot more comfortable with the software over time, figuring out how to use its instruments and effects in ways that sounded professional. I also learned a lot about structuring tracks and manipulating sounds to create more polished and dynamic pieces. Even though I had some setbacks with time management, I definitely think I had a much stronger skill set and a better understanding of how to approach projects in the future. My project's aim is to present a drum portfolio where I show a variety of my favourite drumming styles and techniques in different genres such as funk, jazz, trip hop and rock. I also want to experiment with different drum recordings and mic setups. I would also like to show the difference between mics themselves and what are the pros and cons of different mics. I'll present everything I do in videos recorded on 2 Panasonic Lumix cameras, with audio recorded onto Logic. My project inspiration comes from my appreciation for different world-renowned drummers, and the enjoyment I've had from listening to them all my life. I also love the fact of how drummers influence each other and have improved the sound you can get from a drum kit, whether it be from your playing or the kit itself, and they have brought it to the best of its ability, with still to this day having improvements being made by drummers across the world. My research will be predominantly online, looking over a variety of different resources, ranging from websites to YouTube videos, and I will look for reliable and credible publishers and authors with experience in their craft. For the websites I want to specifically research, I want to find some that are very clear and trustworthy. One in particular is Drum Magazine, where they talk about the Glyn Johns drum recording method. As you can see here, the website has very clear diagrams about what the setup should look like. This would be very useful to me, as it is easy to understand. It then goes into greater detail about how to set the mics up, and then suggests what type of microphones you should use, like dynamic or condensers and so on. This website also shows why Glyn Johns is a credible producer, showing the work he's done and who he's done it with. It also shows the common problems that could come with this setup and shows how to fix it. For example, it says that the side mic can be placed in a line with the cymbal edge and pick up an uneven cymbal sound. It then gives the solution: to move the mic over to the shoulder instead of over the floor tom. Information like this can be very useful for me, as it can help reduce the amount of problems I get. That's for secondary research. For primary research, I'll be getting hands-on experience with experimenting with different recording techniques and microphones. I can find out the differences from hearing them myself. Problem solving. My main solution to problem solving would be research. I would research what my problem is and find an answer online, although I wouldn't start with this. To start off, depending on what the problem is, I'll experiment with trial and error. If it is a technical problem in the studio, I'll ask a tutor or James. I usually have problems with mixing where I'm never sure what I'm actually doing. To combat this, I'll be doing research on this matter. I have problems with planning and sticking to plans. This is due to me not being secure in what I want to achieve in the project. So in this project, I'll create a very strong detailed plan and stick to it at the very best of my ability. I also have a problem of getting distracted due to boredom. To counter this, I'll try not to spend too much time on individual parts of my project at one time. Planning and production. I'm going to be doing an overall project plan and different weekly plans as well, where I can reflect on each week and find out where I need to make improvements or where I'm doing well in the project. I feel this will give me the best chance of fully understanding where I am at in the project and help me greatly in the overall outcome of the project itself. I will be doing all of my production on Logic Pro X. This is because I am very comfortable in recording drums into this software and editing on it as well. I believe it will give me the highest results for recording in my project. For my videos and recordings, I will be editing them on Adobe Premiere Pro and uploading them onto YouTube. Practical skills. I think I'm strong in Logic Pro X as I've been using it for a long time. I can record drums to a high standard. I am very confident in my playing abilities on drums. This will be very useful for my FMP. I will need to learn how to record videos on Panasonic Lumix cameras, but this is something that I've never done before. I then need to learn how to sync my Logic recordings with the video recording. I am a very confident drummer and think that I am a quick learner, especially when it comes to the drums. I think I'm quick in thinking of drum parts to go along in songs. This meant I was very strong in a band. I can come up with creative drum parts to songs in bands, and if I can find drumless tracks online. I can confidently build and release tension in songs just by my drum playing. Evaluation and reflection. I will review my work every week against the grading matrix to make sure I'm meeting the higher grades. I will seek other people's opinions to make sure I'm definitely hitting these goals. I will ask my peers and my tutors for this information. I will also evaluate my work against my plan to know if I'm behind or not. Every week, I will have regular one-on-ones with my tutor about my written work for guidance on where I can improve. At the end of the project, I will do a 500-word evaluation where I can note down where I went well in my project and where I didn't. A skills audit will help me greatly in this and show where I've gained strengths from where I may have been weaker before. Presentation. I will organise my work into separate weekly posts and upload these onto WordPress. This will make sure it is very clear to the grader about what I've been doing in this project. I will do a presentation on PowerPoint with a voiceover, which is what you're listening to now, to describe my process and personal context clearly. This presentation will then be posted onto my WordPress. Thank you for listening.